Hello everybody, this is the test remediation for parallel and perpendicular lines. That was the bulk of your test, and this is for block 4. First thing is we need to make sure that our volume is up. We need to be listening, actively listening while we're working the problems out. Shouldn't have, closed captions trying to read and do the problems at the same time. Shouldn't be doing that. Need a pencil and a highlighter, and remember we must show all of our work on both sides of the sheet, just as it's demonstrated in this video. All right. Okay, so as you know, the left side is the most missed problems on the test. And the left side, the first one here, was the most missed problem on the test, which I thought was kind of strange because this really isn't a difficult problem, but I guess it just threw you because it was visually probably looked different than some that we did. Which table of ordered pairs best represents the line that is, and we want to highlight, parallel to the line in the graph? So what I want you to do is we're going to draw a line, and I want you to write right here, same slopes, and we are now going to find the slope of this line. So I'm going to find me two good points that go through the corners of the graph. I'm going to pick this one. Need to make sure they go through the corners of the boxes, excuse me. And we have to be very particular with that. Okay, there's two good points. So I'm going to rise and run. So I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we know that the slope of a graph is rise over run, so that's going to be 4 over 5. Since I am looking for a graph that's parallel, I am looking for the same slopes. So now, how do I find the slopes from tables? Well, I do. So I'm going to do for each one of these. All right, just a reminder, you do down, up, down, up. So I'm going to do that for every table. So down, up, down, up. And now I need to simplify. So that first one gave me a slope of -4/5. Do it here. Okay, I need to simplify, and this table has a slope of -5/4. Negative divided by negative is positive, so we have a slope of 5/4 for this table. Negative divided by negative is positive, and this simplifies to 4/5. And now I am looking for parallel lines, something that's parallel to this graph. We need the same slope, so these are the same slopes. The answer is D. Okay, so over here I want you to find the slope of all 4 of these, and then find the slope of the graph, and then you're going to match them for parallel lines. Let's also check the wording up here and make sure we're using parallel lines. If they change to perpendicular, we know that we have to look for a different kind of slope. We have to look for opposite reciprocals. So now what I want you to do is I want you to flip over to the back of your sheet, and I want you to write number 1, and I want you to write the equation for the line of best fit that we put into Desmos to get Desmos to calculate a line of best fit for us. And I'll give you a hint. That equation starts with Y1. If you do not remember what the equation for the line of best fit is that we put in Desmos, you can watch a video, which I have put in the schedule this week under Monday. You could ask a friend, or you could look back in your class practice sheets. We have it written. But for number 1, I want you to write the equation that we put into Desmos to find the line of best fit. All right, number 2. This is still getting us, and I'm pretty certain I know why, and we'll get to that towards the end of this problem, but this is a 2-step inequality. So we're going to just solve it. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Let's make sure we're showing all our work. Let's write over here, subtract 2. We're going to bring down negative 1/4. We're going to bring down our inequality symbol. 10 minus 2 is 8. Our second step, hang on, I forgot to put my X here. We need to get rid of the negative 1/4. I'm going to do that by multiplying both sides, and please write this down, by the reciprocal, which is negative 4/1. It's really the same thing as multiplying both sides by negative 4. It's the same thing. So I'm going to multiply here by negative 4/1. I'm going to multiply here by negative 4/1. So here, these cancel. So I'm left with an X. And then here, pretty much I'm multiplying. 8 times negative 4 is negative 32 divided by 1, which is negative 32. And this is where I think we went wrong. We're forgetting about the golden rule of inequalities. So down here I want you to write golden rule. And I want you to write multiply or divide both sides by negative. Inequality symbol switches direction. And that is the part that I think we messed up on, which made this the most missed problem on the test, or one of them. The inequality sign switches direction. So the correct answer is D. All right. All right, I want you to flip over on the back, if you would, the very back, and I want you to write number 2, and I want you to write one of 2 statements. Either I do need to retake the second part of my quiz, or I do not need to retake the second part of my quiz. You should know, because when I handed the quiz back, the second part, it was about the line of best fit on Desmos. Some of us could not remember the correct line to type in, the format, and I wrote can redo at the top. So you're either one that can redo your quiz, or you do not need to redo your quiz. I want you to write that. I do or do not need to redo the second part of my quiz. And if you do need to redo it, I want you to write, I will redo on blank day during class. Tell me what day you're going to do it, and then I want you to get with me and ask me for the second part of that quiz. All right? All right. So now we're back to test question number 3, one of the most missed. It has been a couple of weeks since we've done this. That's why I'm pretty certain it was one of the most missed. Key phrase here is average rate of change. And what I want you to do is I want you to write slope right here. And we are actually, average rate of change is a slope, but it's over a specific interval. We have got to use these x values. So when we have an equation, this actually is one of the longer processes to find the average rate of change. We are going to have to evaluate this function at -6. We're going to have to evaluate this function at -2. And the reason why we evaluate it is because we're putting in our x values, and when we evaluate it, what we get out is the y. So that gives us ordered pairs where we can find the slope. So what does it sound like? Blank squared plus 4 blank. Blank squared plus 4 blank. I'm going to record that first. Now for this first evaluating at -6, I'm going to plug -6 into the blanks. I'm going to grab me a calculator, and I can pop this in just as I see it on the calculator. and I get 12. So input is an X, negative 6. Output is a Y, 12. So I have just created an ordered pair, negative 6, 12, which is an ordered pair found on the graph of this equation. Now I'm going to plug in negative 2 here. So I'm going to evaluate it, negative 2. And again, I'm going to plug this in the calculator just as I see it. And I get a negative 4. So my input is negative 2. My output is negative 4. That is an ordered pair. Input is X. Output is Y. Now I am ready to find the average rate of change over this interval. Average rate of change is the slope. So I am going to do down, up, down, up. And I get 16 here. And that is plus a positive, so I get negative 4 here. And this needs to simplify. We must always simplify, especially in Delta Math and in SchoolNet. Now, on an EOC, it's my understanding that if you were to pop this in, it actually would count it correct. However, your SchoolNet won't take it that way. You actually have to enter negative 4. Okay, so let's make sure we show all our work there. Now, I want you to flip over on the very back, and I want you to write a number 3, and I want you to tell me what you know about parallel lines. What do you know about parallel lines? It's 2 words. It is actually up on a piece of chart paper in my room. What do you know about parallel lines? All right, last most missed problem. Kind of expected this would be the most missed because it's the wordiest, and you've got a picture with a lot going on, but we have to get used to these, so I thought it was a great question for us to think through. We've got a grid below, shows the location of train stations A and B and C. These are train stations. A straight track connects stations B and C. Another straight track will connect a 4th station D to A. And here's the important sentence. This track will intersect the track at a right angle. This is a key phrase that's telling us about a relationship between B and C and A and D. What is that relationship? Well, if they are meeting at right angles, the lines are perpendicular. So I want you to write lines are perpendicular. All right. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to find the slope of the line that they're giving me. I'm going to pick 2 points that go through the very corners of the boxes, and we want to be very careful that they're going through the very corners of the boxes, and we're going to find the slope. Okay, so we're going to rise 1, 2, 3, and we're going to run 1, 2, 3, 4. So slope, and let's come out here. Slope of BC is 3/4. And if I want them to meet at a right angle, then we need the slope of AD will be opposite reciprocal, which means flip it and change the sign. So I am trying to create a line with the slope of -4/3. So now what I have to do is, I can do this a couple of ways. If I know that it's a slope of -4/3 and it's going to go through this point and another one, I can simply start right here, and I can rise and run and get an entire line that represents line AD. So I'm just going to go ahead and rise and run. So from here I'm going to go down 4, right 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Here is a line, a point on that line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Another point on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Another point on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Another point on the line. I can actually connect this so that I can see the line. And you'll notice visually it actually does look like it goes through at a right angle. So all of these points that I found are points on the line that form a perpendicular line to BC. So I can actually now match up the points to the right ones. Okay, another way of doing this, especially since this was on the computer, is you can take this point and you can put it with each one of these points and you can find the slope. So negative 4, 6, and you can use this one and find the slope. Negative 4, 6 with this one and find the slope. Negative 4, 6 with this one and find the slope. Negative 4, 6 with this one and find the slope. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take a shortcut. I'm going to see if I can match these points with these, and it ends up this point here is the one that matches. This is the point 8, negative 10. And we're actually going to prove it. We're going to grab this point, and we're going to do to show that we're going to get a perpendicular slope. Down, up. Down, up, negative 16 on top, 12 on the bottom, and when I simplify that, I get negative 4/3. So this would be the ordered pair that, when connected with this one, we would get a perpendicular line. All right, so now last step, I want you to flip over on the back of this sheet again, and number 4, you're going to write number 4, and I want you to state, what do we know about the slopes of perpendicular lines? It's 2 words. It is from the chart paper that's in my room hanging on the wall. What do you know about the slopes of perpendicular lines? You all have a great day.